Okay, here we go, my first kind of official AOE 4 cast here. I casted a bit of the stress test, but this is actually after the release of the game. This is my friend HJFE here, let's just say HJ or Hoye. He is playing as the French against Caesar SY with the Abbasid dynasty. So, HJ has been exploring this a little bit. He was very doubtful as to whether he should get AOE 4 at all. But now he's been working and playing a little bit, and he's been getting the game the basics down. And as you can see here, it goes to food first here at French, and then right on to gold. I mean, I usually do the other way around. I go to wood first, and then, I mean, PC, 6 on food, house, couple of wood, and then to gold. But I can see how going to gold earlier makes sense as well. In my opinion, I believe more in the wood first, because you're only gonna need to mine 100 gold to afford the landmark. But of course, come the feudal age, if HJ wants to go for the knights here, he's going to need a lot of gold. So that's probably the reasoning for the early gold as well, with the French here. So, but as you can see here, Caesar SY is already bringing in a bit more resources here. I'm not sure what he's up to, maybe focusing. So here's the lumber camp. Yeah, gold first. Food, gold, lumber camp. I guess I need to adapt this myself. Not sure what this... I didn't quite catch what this map was called. So forgive me for that, but it looks like we have sort of... It's reminiscent of the AOE 2 Acropolis, really. We have some hills all around. Should be fairly easily wallable to the edges here. And... that fog is kind of neat. Limited vision. I don't know where exactly you wall here, but I guess... I mean, it's not like your units can walk up here, so if you wall the edge here and the edge here, that should be enough, I think. Unless there's any point of entry through the forest here, that could be the case as well. I guess we'll see. But Caesar SY here with the Abbasid dynasty is already on the way to the feudal age, I believe, or at least has the resources to do so. And advance to the feudal age by building a wing from the House of Wisdom. So that's exactly what our friend is doing here. That was building the... what's this one? Wait, he's building the House of Wisdom and then he's going to construct another wing to advance to the next stage. That's the idea. And Abbasid, they have some amazing options, and people tend to go for the economic approach, where your villagers get a ridiculous discount, so you can have an amazing boom with Abbasid dynasty, even out to 3000 there's fairly early in the feudal age, because of these food savings. See here, economic wing, fresh foodstuffs, yeah, unlocks economic technologies. And then there's the build wing, benefiting the build tree. And in there, the House of Wisdom is where you research the upgrades you need to go for, basically. Let's go back to Hoye here. He's got his build down with the Franks, as I said. He's going for the School of Cavalry. He is now in the feudal age at a whooping 4 minutes here. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. And now he's with food. He's lacking a little bit in the food, I think, but maybe he's producing. We can't really tell here. You can see the gathering point. He probably queued the knight here. I'd love to see units actually being queued here. I'm also a bit surprised Caesar SY isn't up, because it's really nice and smooth to go up to the next stage with the Abbasid once you have your resources for it down. Milling the hunt here, very important. Hunt is one of the quicker resources, just like in Age of Empires 2, you collect hunt faster than you collect sheep, for example. In this case, HA is doing both, of course. So School of Cavalry here, he can produce the horseman, is HJ's weapon of choice. And it seems a bit low on food here, I have to say. Maybe he's queuing too many villagers. No, not really. Yeah, let's reveal HJ's scouting here. He's seen something over here. Oh, I need to work out hotkeys for this, but... Anyway, he's out scouting with the first horseman here, probably looking for exposed resources to hit with this very first unit here. And or maybe just find a way around here. This strikes me as a real grid if you just wall off like the ultimate turtle map here. Unless this is patchable, which it might very well be. I'm not sure if I've even played this map myself yet. I haven't really played a lot. Just started exploring everything. Wood and gold mainly here for the Abbasid player. Abbasid can't collect boars, which are containing a lot of food in this game, but we have double ranges going up here. And I think Abbasid Dynasty are the ones getting Camel Archer, but correct me if I'm wrong. We'll be seeing that shortly. Actually, what's that? Yeah, that's a house. House the size of the archery range, but just AV4 things. HJ doing a good job at scouting here. His population seems about the same as the opponent here. Let's have a look at the resource though. Look at this. So much food and stuff for Caesar here compared to HJ. HJ is probably massing up an army instead. So he wants map control with army first, and then follow up with a boom later. I'm a bit surprised that HJ hasn't gone to stone here, but the reason could be that the stones are quite exposed here. It looks like you need to go down here to find the stone. But it's found the enemy side. He has some horsemen raiding here. Idles a bit of gold. However, Caesar is dangerously close to the castle age. I think it's 600 food, 400 gold or something to go up to the next stage again. Yep. Camel Archers out for the Abbasid player here. Triple range Camel Archers. And the cost of those, hold on, let's reveal all again, see if we can tell what these are costing. 180 food, 60 wood, so that's quite the expensive unit here. You'll need a lot on food, especially to support this. If you build a mill on the berries, like the Abbasid player is doing here, you get the bonus from harvesting berries, food bonus, because that kind of compensates for, among other things, the fact that Abbasid Dynasty can't eat boars. That's pigs, and they're not allowed to eat those. HJ pulls the armies back. You just poked a little bit at the enemy side and pulls the armies back just to gather up with new sources. If you see this building influence here, build within the influence of the building, your production will production speed, or units production speed, will increase. So I think if you place more stables right next to the school cavalry, all of your cavalry will be producing faster. Or is it, what's the cost? What was it? Sorry, not producing faster, but they will be cheaper, 20% cheaper. So all the more reason to build your stables next to the cavalry. HJ is building a market, which is good to trade resources, obviously, when you start floating them. And he might be getting close to the next age as well. French have access to early knights, so HJ could mix in some knights here as well as a complementary unit, but looks like he's playing it more defensively here. Feels like he has the map control because he realized that he saw some armies from the blue player, but nothing too crazy. Let's have a look at Caesar's side again here. This is dropping a blacksmith, gonna get the upgrades for these camel archers moving out together with the scout here. And that's another thing for the Abbasid Dynasty. Your buildings, when connected within the influence of the town center, House of Wisdom influence area, as you can see here, it extends as you place more buildings, and 10 buildings, I think, begins the Golden Age, and then 30 structures tier 2 and 60 structures tier 3, and that's, as you can see, that boosts the villager gathering rate as you connect the buildings. So you want to place your houses and production buildings close to the House of Wisdoms when you're the Abbasid, and not place them forward, because you'll benefit a lot more from it having it at home. HJ reacts to the offensives here with outposts and sends the horsemen in. I'm not too sure how this will play out. I feel like the camel archers with the hit and run potential are better off here. They're both with decent resources here. Caesar, if he has a market, could sell some food now and unlock the landmark for the next stage if he wants to. Looks like HJ is going to be the first one to it though. That loud sound we just heard, that's the indication that you can build your next landmark. Royal Institute coming up here for the French. Houses all technologies unique to the French. Research is 20% cheaper here and ignores age requirements. Now, personally, I would prefer the other French landmark, because the other landmark allows French to generate resources out of nowhere. And which means you could toggle whether you want stone, gold, this or that. HJ now has been mining stone. The blue player hasn't been mining stone actually, so I guess HJ is ahead here. HJ is going to drop that second TC town center well ahead of Caesar here, but Caesar seems to be on the aggressive side here with the camel archers trying to deal damage on the ranks player. It is going to be a solid head start to the next 8 for HJ though, as far as I can see, and that also means that HJ can construct keeps, can upgrade the knights to royal knights, and get those cheaper upgrades from the new landmark as well. We'll see once it completes what's available here. Chivalry, royal knights regenerate health when out of combat, and bonus damage after a charge, etc, etc. And also arbaletrier. Arbaletrier. That's an archer's unit, arbalest of AoE 2, comparable to that. I'm surprised at the playstyle among the two players here though, because they're really not dropping that second TC, which we see so many players doing. HJ with some good raids here, by the way. He's raiding the berries of the blue player here. Let's toggle all here again so we can see it. The problem here is that Caesar S5 has so cheap villagers due to the golden age that is less vulnerable to raids than HJ. It's the case for HJ. Not if there's an uphill advantage or not for HJ here. Looks like the horsemen are doing decent against the camel archers, but the camel archers certainly have the numbers. They also have the home field advantage with the production buildings so close here. Blacksmith is researching the upgrades, but that takes some time to get to as well. In the meantime, HJ drops another stable now. Oh, but he should drop it. He should drop it next to the School of Cavalry, because of the influence of the School of Cavalry. If you drop the stables right next to this building, all of the cavalry will be cheaper. Now it would just be generic price for the cavalry for HJ over here, if I understand this bonus correctly. See, HJ has transitioned to farm economy as well. The farms never run out in Age of Empires 4, but they do cost a lot of wood, which you need for other production buildings as well, so you want to delay farms and do the best of your ability until later. Some idle villagers here as well. And let's see here for the prices of the cavalry. 140, 100. Okay, it's the same price actually. I thought that was an area influence, but maybe the influence goes a bit further than it. I can't tell how far it goes. All of his stable units produce 20% faster, another reason to get the School of Cavalry, of course. Here with the veteran horsemen for HJ and also the Royal Knights mixed in here, so a mix of both units. And we see another TC. Fantastic town center spot in the middle here, in between two golds. Which is obviously going to secure a lot of map control and important resources for HJ over here. He has the berries over here, quite close to TC as well, so they are semi-protected here. And yeah, seems to have enough stone for a keep as well. I think the keep might be 650, but correct me if I'm wrong there as well. Let's actually see if we can... Oh, it's 800 stone for a keep. It's 800 stone. You need to be in the castle age to build that, but they both are in the castle age, so that shouldn't be an issue. The Abbasid player is getting more of the upgrades here. Abbasid Dynasty, they don't need to research siege engineers to create siege weapons. So one of the early game plays for Abbasid Dynasty could be an early infantry and siege push on the opponent. Not the case here though. And as we know, players are still working out civilizations and build orders and everything as well. HJ, Boomer Boy, another TC here, Town Center on the woodline and gold. Should be establishing a very solid economic position here. I wouldn't go so far as to say an equal lead, because Abbasid has such a ridiculous economy with the cheaper villagers, but it is only one town center for blue here, so it could be that Caesar actually doesn't know that a second TC is a thing. Or it's conscious, it's a 1 TC play here to afford more military and go for a counter push. Crossbows, they range unit best against armored targets, so that should be a decent against the horsemen, I guess, even though you want to make some mix in some spearmen as well. Spearmen and to counter cavalry and archers to counter infantry units, etc. Crossbows to counter men-at-arms, I think, because men-at-arms have pretty heavy armor. Archers, yeah, there we go. Archers are stronger against pikes, and crossbows are stronger against horses, and crossbows should also be strong against men-at-arms, I think, are stronger than archers, because the men-at-arms have pretty crazy armor. Listen to the sound design. Move closer to the horses, and the sound gets stronger. Nice. Now the battle music and the shouting begins. Big battle event here. HJ is fighting uphill, but the hill advantage isn't necessarily as huge as it is in Age of Empires 2. Yeah, the men-at-arms have crazy pierce armor. Yeah, horsemen will cut it for HJ here now, as we see the crossbows and camel archers of the Abbasid player here. Strong combination, honestly. You have a response to the counter units here, and you have the camel archers to push on their own. And I guess that the foot soldiers, like the crossbows, they can also construct rams and mangonels and springbows and siege towers. Any foot soldier can do that. Now blue is out for some blood here. We see the ecos are actually quite comparable here. It's a bit different disposition of resources, but that also comes down to your army composition of choice. Now blue is in it to counter-attack on HJ here. One win condition in Age of Empires 2 is to take out the enemy landmarks, and that means the starting town center and this one and the school of cavalry. These three landmarks have to be taken out by HJ. I think you should see the landmarks. Let's have a look at the income per minute as well. It seems quite even between the. It should be interesting to see the stats after. Now let's see what Caesar sees here. He has no idea that HJ is in the middle here with the town center. Mangonels are super strong. Yeah, and Abbasid can build them with the foot soldiers. Yeah, he's building the ram. It's not bad. Oh! HJ with the Mangonel defense here. Let's see if we can get a good hit in here. The camel archers don't stand a chance against the Mangonel. And crossbows, let's see. Crossbows. They're doing decent. Not great, but decent. I guess you'll want horsemen or infantry units to deal with siege from a distance. HJ gets a nice surround here, are those? Yeah, those are veteran horsemen, and they're cleaning up the crossbows because they get the surround. Easy clean up for HJ. Good defense, and now he's gonna focus down the ram as well. Ram looks so stupid in this good game. There we go. Nice defense from HJ, as blue has moved out with additional town centers finally as well. And again, that Abbasid economy is just ridiculous. It's third town center here. Very late to the eco expansion here for blue, and these armies are just chilling about here. You can see for the military HA on the positive military KD here, we raised one building somewhere as well, as blue is preparing some more defenses here that they can keep. HA is well ahead in score though. He's killed more units, he's created more, brought in more resources, and claimed much more of the map earlier on. He's making a keep of his own as well. And he seems to be close to the, excuse me, to the Imperial Age as well, which for the French should... okay, I can't show it here. Maybe I should... Yeah. See if HJ goes for a landmark. He is neglecting the expansion in the middle from the Abbasid player here, so looks like this game is about to go into the hands of the French here. Nice little snipe there from HJ. I'm sure he's gotten some of the upgrades for the armies as well. And here comes another keep to secure this gold. This is an HJFE. It's a very solid Age of Empires 2 player. He's actually currently Norway's, on the leaderboards, Norway's highest ranked team game player. But obviously he plays 1v1s quite well as well. Well above average, wherever average is in AOE 2. So he seems to be working things out here. I don't know if he only plays French for now, just to get to know and get the feeling of them. But he's certainly got the idea of map control down. Stone walls at home as well, limiting raids from the Cavalry Archers. I'm sure he's stonewalling the other side as well. Or will, eventually. You could just wall down here. And then there's no way that blue can easily enter, except probably in the middle here. But then that's kind of a choke point. You could easily fortify with another keep, right? You have the stone for 2 more keeps here for Hoye, HJ. And you could also use this forward keep. Won't see if he goes to the Imperial Age. Let's see if HJ has any plans for that. Yeah, he must have done that. So I need to figure out where he's placing that landmark. I guess this is it. Red Palace coming up for the French here. It acts like a keep, so it will shoot arrows and defend the resources here at home. And features high damage arbalest emplacements. Each garrison unit adds an additional arbalest. So you could garrison units, probably like villagers for example, and they become arbalists to shoot fire arrows to defend your economy. The Imperial Age is in, Caesar SY is lagging behind here. And going for some siege of his own to try and deal with the castles of our red player here, or the keeps rather, whatever we're gonna call them. There's also another thing I think HJ could have done here. He could have made the other French landmark, and then he would, if he made it forward, you could build a stronger siege. I think that's the other French landmark. Let's check the tech tree after. Or maybe we can check it now. I won't see the French. Because where do we find the landmarks? Yeah, this is the one I was talking about. The College of Artillery could be built as the Imperial Age landmark. Provides immediate access to produce Royal Artillery, which do 20% more damage. So that would be a nice, with the map control that HJ currently has, that could have been a proper way to close out the game with stronger siege weapons forward. But obviously HJ wants to be on the defensive side. He wants the landmarks at home to be able to defend as well, to be able to defend the landmarks, because landmark victory is a thing in Age of Empires 4. Look at all the red on the map here. HJ is claiming all of the map here at this point. Let's go to HJ's pub again and see what he sees at the moment. It's a little bit on the passive side here, if you ask me. He is using the keeps kind of as offensive buildings as well. Well, blue actually has a trebuchet out here now to deal with one of HJ's forward keeps. It's only one trebuchet though, so that's going to take a while to take out the castle this way. In the meantime, HJ is building both horsemen. These should be elite Royal Knights at this point, probably the equivalent to AoE 2 Paladin, and let's see if Blue has a response to this. He has the Camel Riders, but they are not Imperial with Imperialist upgrades. I believe they're called Heavy or Elite Camel Raiders or something when the appropriate upgrade is in. Of course, HJ dodges that one. He'll want to add some unit to counter the Camel Riders, but then there are crossbows behind this to deal with infantry units of HJ as well. I don't know what's going on over here. I see some blue over here, but okay, that's a ram that probably got stopped in the construction process here. And HJ decides to charge in here. He used the attack move. And should be getting decent trades here, I think, because he has Elite Royal Knights against what is only Camel Riders. They aren't with the full Imperial Age upgrades. So even if they are meant to counter Camel... Actually, the Camels are trading very nicely against the French Knights here. HJ quite low on resources, but I assume it's just producing a lot. And the KD stats are comparable here. HJ really needs a response to the Camel Riders at this point. Maybe he could go for Arbalète Prier to have a ranged option to deal with those. Loses one keep here. I never thought HJ had so much of the map control. And I don't think he's lost by any means yet. As you can see, he's has self-healing units here. Now he's mixing in the Spearman as well. That's a good call. A veteran Spearman. Not sure about the upgrades. Pike Siege push would make sense, yeah. I mean, HJ really needs siege of his own here to start pushing back. He needs to get rid of this keep. And yeah, that's about it. That's the only, like, maybe HJ is focusing a little bit too much on the area here that he could... I assume he could run through here and then he should just run in and raid, try and find exposed economy to hit. We'll see on the timeline after what the situation is like. But looks like blue here. This is like the core economy here, very exposed. If you run in with some, horsemen here, Royal Knights here, at the very least you'll force a reaction of the blue player, and blue will have to pull the camels back home, and that leaves HJ a bit more of an option to deal with this forward keep here. Now, what are those now? There's still Camel Riders here. Maybe they only are Camel Riders. I was sure they were... had some different name to it, like Royal or Heavy Camel or something, but... They sniped that trap easily. Now, with the Spearman investment of HJ, though, he should be able to do all right here if he's able to charge against the crossbows here with the cavalry and then the spearmen to charge against the camels. I think this is HJ's fight. It should be a good fight for the red player here. But look at that Abbasid's economy though. So much gold, so much everything. Really. Doesn't seem like HJ got any arrow defense upgrades. Maybe not. Okay, even the melee units are doing surprisingly well against the keep here. No siege from HJs to deal with this, but it's still gonna go down, and they will be taking out the trebuchet here as well. Alright, one keep killed by the French player here. Caesar is floating resources, but not really producing as well as could be. He needs to replenish numbers at this point and pump out army with the resources at his disposal. I see we have stables producing. Look, why is that so dark? I don't know why it's so dark. But... Yeah, it's the same upgrade for all units for ranged damage and attack and stuff. Here we go. Let's see who won here. Match complete. I'm assuming HJ took the win here. It's just too much army from the French player here. Let's have a look at the stats, if we may. Hill and Dale, that was the name of the map, so now we know that as well. Let's have a look at the overview of the timeline. Actually quite comparable here, if you look at the progression in population, military, some military events here. And then but HA moves ahead here with the larger army mass. Loses a lot there on the first volley, but then takes out the forward keep, and the opponent taps out, close to GG. Builder count, obviously ahead for HJ here. He did get to those. They were both late to their second town centers, or the additional town centers, but HJ was the first one to place these in the middle for gold and map control. And yeah, they never looked back from that lead, so good boom by HJ here. Military count, that's interesting as well. A little bit of different spikes here between the players. And total resources, Abbasid player floating a lot, not really spending enough resources, maybe a struggle for production buildings or something. Yeah, food count, maybe not so. Yeah, these aren't. Let's general score ahead for HJ here. Total score twice the size, impact, and military score way ahead, even though they killed and lost equivalent number of units. Nice. HU time for HJ there. Goes to gold early. Gold and food, important resource to get up. And finally, society score. That's the castles, I think. Or the landmarks, I'm not sure. But GG. It was an interesting game to follow. My first AOE forecast.